Seems like everything's working, so I'll go ahead and start. Real quick, so I'm using Facecam on the second channel. I kind of figured, what's it called? I haven't streamed in a little bit, and initially I was like on the fence about whether or not I'm gonna do the preservation Keystone Hero today, whatever. We're doing leveling testing though, and I'm gonna do preservation Keystone Hero tomorrow, and that will be main channel. I'm starting off on my evoker just because there's a bunch of different things that I want to go over for this stream, and I figured one thing that would just be easy to start off with is show my progress on my preservation evoker, which is pretty good. I think I said roughly I'd get about like 20 item levels compared to where I was before, and I'm already almost there, and there's still a few items that I haven't upgraded to 263 yet. And I haven't done any of my crafts and stuff, which I'll probably do that at the start of Prez Keystone Hero, just get that out of the way. But I have a lot of stuff done. I made good progress on this character, also on my Priest and my, Monk. And I'm still slowly chipping away at leveling both my Paladin, Druid, and Shaman. I definitely Druid and Paladin I should be able to get done before the weekly reset. Shaman, I might just wait a little bit longer. We'll see. I'm not in any particularly big rush for that. They're not going to be for a little bit, and there's a lot of other stuff going on. But figured I'd show, the progress that I made on this character, and this will be tomorrow. That is going to be the plan. So this is also, obviously, there's other people here. This is live servers. Most of this stream will be on the PTR, but there are a few quick things that I need to set up. So something that I want to test, but I just didn't have time to get set up, is I'm going to get every single Delver's Call quest and like a bunch of other stuff set up. So I have every single Delver's Call quest already completed in both my Paladin and my Druid, and I can show how much XP that gives at the very least. But it's not that simple because the problem that a lot of people are using to evaluate like the big final turn-in amount is there's going to be more now. So if you just look at what we were doing before, at just the Delver's Call quests, like, yeah, it's a lot, right? But there's going to be additional stuff that you'll want to do. Like, one thing that I do plan on testing a decent amount this stream is Legends of the Harrowing. And I'm already pretty sure, like 99% sure, we'll have to actually test it on the PTR, but just based on the testing I've done on live servers, doing it at level 90, I'm pretty sure that it's worth including, because if it does give increased experience, which, according to Blizzard, it should, although, obviously, I haven't actually checked, then, in that case, there are enough that can be done really, really, really quickly. Like, 2 minutes-ish. And it is turned in at exactly the same NPC as the Gulf of Memory, the Delver's Call. Let me just, real quick, yeah, okay, cool, I got this working correctly. So there's like 0 extra travel time, you pick it up, you turn it into the same spot, and getting to the locations, especially the fast locations, and there's a few of them, are not hard at all. So I am like reasonably certain that's going to be worth including, and that's like a Delver's Call, additional Delver's Call quest worth of experience compared to what we had before that will now be included in the final turn-ins. So you can't just like buff the Delver's Call and expect it like the number to just be linear, because the entire final section will be different. There's also, what's it called? There's this quest, which I can show. Just made a big, fresh mug of coffee, which I'll need. I haven't slept somewhat recently, so I'm a little bit tired, but I'm not, like, dead tired. Probably not going to be a super long stream, obviously, for people watching the VOD. You'll be able to tell exactly how long it is. I'm not going to be doing a full leveling run today, by the way. I am going to be doing a full, like, simulated, optimized leveling run that the new Follow the Arrow route will be based off of later this week. That won't be on stream, and then I'll post the video to the main channel, as usual. And today I'm just kind of testing individual things to kind of see. Good morning, Pixelina. But yeah, we'll test different things. Yeah, so this quest, for instance, where is it? It's a meta quest, I think. Hope in the Darkest Corners. I'm not on PTR right now. So normally, this gives 18k XP. And a lot of people used to ask me, like, why don't I do this? So, technically, because there's 2 delves in every single zone, right? Except for Silvermoon, it used to be in earlier versions that you only had 8 delves. So it wasn't really worth it to do this, because generally it wasn't worth it to go out of your way to do 2 world quests. Now, currently, I think, like, it could have maybe been worth it to pick this up. It is a single quest worth of experience right now. It doesn't benefit from War Mode because it's in Silvermoon. And a lot of times I don't do Parhelion Plaza. Now, 2 things with Parhelion Plaza. One, even on the absolute worst variant, which is unfortunately the same day as Calamitous. Today, by the way, we have C variants. So it's going to be, like, I'm not going to do that much simulation of, like, delves and stuff, but that's the nice thing about you can see in my quest log. I've already completed everything, right? Except, I haven't done Darkway, right? And the reason for that is because Ogre Powered. Honestly, may as well just do that right now. I remember, yeah, I was waiting for this specific variant. Darkway and Parhelion Plaza are weird because basically I've tested every single delve a bunch of times to see, and early on in the expansion, I was already pretty sure that, well, I knew for a fact that because of, like, Calamitous and stuff like that, the B variant cycle was just the fastest. Now, some of the delves that I was a little bit on the fence about, like Shadow Enclave, this one, or not Mirrorshine, but the one where you pick up material, the Atalmon one, where you, like, rescue the cubs, whatever the Twilight Crypts one is, I forget which one that is. But there were a few where I'm like, they're fine, they're at least good enough to not be, like, bad, to justify at least including them, but some of them actually got buffed, and a few of them, after testing it more and, like, optimizing the strategy, they might actually be the fastest. So almost every single B variant, I think, is either significantly faster than the other options, or just the best version. B variant is the one, the Calamitous cycle, right? So we already know Calamitous is, like, extremely good. It is so far ahead of the other 2 Shadowguard Point variants, so you kind of just want to level on that day anyway. But having tested all the other variants, they are just their best respective ones. The exception to that is Darkway and Parhelion Plaza, which is a little bit awkward. Now, Darkway, at the very least, if you are on this one, Ogre Powered, which is C, then it's okay. Or rather, Ogre Powered is fast. Ogre Powered is the fastest one. So if you are on this one, it's good. And if you are not on this, it's just okay. But it's not bad enough to justify not including, in my opinion, if it's not on Ogre Power. This is all, by the way, like, not accounting for the buffs. I think I was going to mention this as, like, the second point, right? But yeah, it's pretty straightforward, so I'll skip ahead. With the buffs, I'm reasonably certain that there is no delve bad enough to not just be worth doing. It's just too good. It's too powerful, right? The buffs are too strong for that. So there's obviously still going to be a fastest variant, but it's not necessarily going to be inefficient to run a bad variant compared to other things. You're going to do all of the delves, even the worst Parhelion Plaza variants. But this is more for speedruns, right? So for regular leveling, you'll just do whatever. For speedruns, almost everything is worth doing on the Calamitous variant. Now, ideally for a speedrun, I will want to time it for a daily reset. So I do it, like, shortly before the daily reset, and then when it ticks over, I get a new set of delves. Now, initially, I thought this might be, like, really RNG heavy, like, this could be a little bit crappy. The nice thing about this, though, is no matter which variant cycle it is, it's going to be an improvement for Parhelion Plaza and Darkway. So if it hits this one, C variant, then you get the really good Darkway variant, and I've tested Bombing Run a little bit more, some people were telling me that it's like actually not that bad. Now, it is still a slow delve variant. Compared to a lot of the other delve variants, it's not fast. But once I practice this and I've gotten like some optimized paths down, it is not like as bad as I thought. It's still a little bit janky, but there are ways that you can optimize this. So if you get this variant cycle, like on a daily reset for a speedrun, this is honestly fine. This might even be the better option, because technically, if you get the A variants the other day, then Parhelion Plaza holding the line is faster. That is a good delve. But the more that I've tested Bombing Run, I actually think that the time difference between Bombing Run and holding the line is not as large as the time difference between Ogre Powered and either of the other two. Either way, they're both like fairly minor differences. I think that there's obviously considerations to be had later in the expansion of if they add additional delve variants and then the cycles start getting wonky, then this level of RNG could be weird. But as it stands right now, kind of either daily rotation of like not the Calamitous variant, not the B variant, would be an improvement. So all I would need to do for a speedrun is do it slightly before the weekly reset, or the daily reset, on a Calamitous day, and then wait to do Darkway and Parhelion Plaza until after the daily reset, which shouldn't be too hard. The only tricky thing is, currently right now, I do them early, and I would ideally want to do Atalamon and Twilight Crypts beforehand, though the nice thing about these is both of these delves are, like, very comparable, even though I think they are faster. I don't know, my handy notes is bugging out. I think they are faster on this Calamitous cycle, but the difference is pretty negligible in the other one. So worst case scenario, as long as I got all, both Herondar delves, both Voidstorm delves, Collegiate Calamity, and Shadow Enclave done in time, that is, I think, the most important part. So, we'll see. I might try to do that for the speedrun. If I can't get the timing down, it doesn't really matter all that much. It's more of a demonstration run, and then I can do a faster speedrun later. I'm going to be able to get a faster time anyway with Turbulent Timeways, so for speedrun purposes, it's kind of whatever, but we'll see. Oblay, a morning stream? Yes. I don't know how long of a morning stream it's going to be, but I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I can either stream now, and then, like, you know, do a shorter stream, go to sleep, and then finish add-on stuff later tonight after I wake up, or I could, like, invert that and try to get, like, add-on stuff done now, but then go to sleep and then do, like, a super late stream. And I kind of figured that, you know, it better to do the add-on stuff in the middle of the night and not do another, like, Demon Hour stream. Figure that would be ideal. I don't know. Could go either way with it. We'll see, though. But yeah, so I'm gonna... there's a bunch of stuff that I want to yap about, right? Might as well just get this delve done, and then this way, at the very least, I can demonstrate how quick it is to do this delve. Now, I'm gonna have to do further testing, because like I said, this quest, Hope in the Darkest Corners, now that you're pretty much always going to be doing all 10 delves, this is not only completely free, but from what I've heard, it is counted as a weekly quest as part of the stuff that's being buffed. I'll double check to confirm that for myself on the PTR, because I have not looked. Right now, I have not tested the PTR, like, at all. All I know is what other people have told me, and obviously what Blizzard has posted, but that can be a little bit unreliable. So I'm just doing this now on my Paladin, and then we'll copy this over. But there's, like, one thing that I really want to test is when exactly you do the final turn-in, and how exactly that's going to go. There's also a few other things that I'm going to have to slightly change in the Fall the Arrow routing. So, one thing that a few people have pointed out to me that I think is probably worth including, both in speedruns, but also it's accessible enough now that I think it's worth including as at least like a manual step in Follow the Arrow, something that you can just skip if you don't want to do it. I'm probably going to have, at the start of the route, it direct you to buy gear off the vendor in Voidstorm and Harrandar, because those are the two most important items anyway, because they don't stack, or they don't overlap with a BOE slot. In theory, it could, very early on, help to buy the helmet from, what's it called? Eversong. But that is, like, a lot of extra travel time that doesn't really get you a whole lot. The only difference would be, right now, you know, the route starts off in Harrandar, and then you do the Delves, and then you go to Voidstorm. And I've been trying to, like, think over what a clean way to route that in would be. And, here, let me kill these aberrations. I haven't, like, included any of this stuff yet, by the way, and I probably, before doing my speedrun, I don't know how much of this I'll include. I might do some of the basic things, but a lot of it is going to be kind of like I did with the Druid run, where I get the speedrun done first. At least in this case, most of it, obviously, will still be there in Follow the Arrow, because it's the alt route. But a lot of the specific changes, I will basically be adapting on the fly in my speedrun, and then after doing the speedrun, after posting it, I'm going to go into the add-on and make the changes based on that. And who knows, maybe I do the run, and I'm like, actually, you know, this may have been still kind of fast, but the actual implementation in the route will be slightly different. And then the idea would be I post that run, like, sometime later next week, and when I sit down to make the add-on changes, I hopefully have them all complete by the time that the patch is actually out. That would be the idea. I'm not going to try and... because I figure if I do it the other way around, right, and I make the changes first, then I'm not going to be actually sitting down to do the run until much later in the week, when Darkmoon Fair's already over, and then also by the time I actually finish it and post it, the patch will be, like, almost out, and I think it would be better to at least give people an idea on what to expect a few days in advance, and then, as far as they're concerned, like, the difference wouldn't matter, because by the time they can actually test it themselves on live servers, it'll be updated either way. So, the only difference is that I won't have it in the moment while doing the run. That is, in my opinion, an acceptable trade-off. Alright, there we go. There's Darkway done. Let's pop out here. But yeah, so let me... my OBS is in the way. Alright. Yeah, so what I'm currently thinking of, like, a way to adapt the start of the run is I want to start by going to Voidstorm. So another thing I'm thinking about is, like, when do you grab engineering? Because I didn't bother grabbing engineering until midway through the run beforehand, because I was on a character with a bunch of stuff, and I didn't think about that. But multiple times now, I have been, like, mid-run, and I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to train engineering, so I can't equip my level 81 BOEs. And obviously, I think most people should be using that. If they're not, they can just skip it. But I think after you teleport in here, I'm going to have it, what's it called? I'll have you go up here, learn engineering, just at least have the skill trained, then fly down here to grab these 2 breadcrumbs. I still think that's good, and then just hit the portal to Voidstorm. It's like, I don't know, 5 to 10 seconds of travel time, but obviously that lets you get all this stuff in advance, lets you get engineering so you can get the BOEs later. So you pop over to Voidstorm. It doesn't... I wish I could just click that and teleport over here. And in Voidstorm, you do the same basic loop, where you go down here, you turn in the console quest, but then the console quest that we normally do as part of this section of the route is also the Quartermaster. So while you're here, you buy that item. I think, what is it? Gloves, right? This thing, I'm pretty sure. So you buy this, you pick up the Conquered Heroes, then the Harrandar portal is right here. You can even see, yeah, portals to Silvermoon and Harrandar. So you do this little loop, and normally this is where, in the Voidstorm section, you pick up a Born Killer, and then you fly up here. But we're not going to do that just yet. We're instead going to take the Harrandar portal, kind of like we did at the start. Then in Harrandar, you are still going to set your Hearthstone. Drop down, set your Hearthstone, then fly up, talk to the Quartermaster here, fly over here, talk to this NPC for Legends of the Harrenir. So, you know, you don't really lose much time because you need to go here anyway, part of the new routes. Now, this quest, whenever this is... I probably will... Now that you're going to be doing other stuff in this area, I didn't bother mentioning this. I don't necessarily think I'm going to include the quest itself in Follow the Arrow, just because it rotates every single day. And, I mean, it would require such ridiculous logic for me to, like, detect what quests are available and then, like, dynamically shift the add-on. I'm sure that I could figure out a way to do that. And if there was ever something where I think it was absolutely critical for me to be able to do that, I'd probably figure out a way. But for a single throwaway quest where I don't necessarily think this is worth doing unless it's the triple one, sometimes there's 3 wanted quests here. Now, if that happens to be up, you should do this. And one of the nice things is, in my opinion, the fastest Legends of the Harrenir, and I'm going to test this in a little bit. We'll copy this character over multiple times to the PTR and test every single one of them and time it. But, in my opinion, the fastest Legends of the Harrenir that I think will end up being the best is right down here. And even if it isn't literally the fastest, if it's off by a few seconds, the other ones that I think are kind of fast are, like, up here, right? So, if you can just go down here, do this, and then once you're finished, like, the turn-in will be here, where Delver's Call Gulf of Memory is, but you're not going to turn that in anyway, you're going to wait until the very end. So you're going to finish that up, then you're going to go down here. If this quest is active, which I guess in a theoretical perfect speedrun it would be, you do this, you do these quests, then you fly over to Grudge Pit, so it ends up saving time, right? Because instead of having to go up here, then down here, you're basically going down here, and then it's a shorter flight, right? You get to Grudge Pit, you do Grudge Pit, obviously, then you Hearth, takes you over here to Harrandar, fly up, do Gulf of Memory, then we do, what's it called? The, Arcantina Key. Then we kind of revert back to the original section of the route, right? You take Arcantina Key. At that point, you'd probably do Collegiate Calamity, then Voidstorm. And in a perfect speedrun, I think right now, I have you do Collegiate Calamity, Darkway, and then Perhelion Plaza, right? In a speedrun, I'd probably do Collegiate Calamity, then just go straight into Voidstorm, because I would want to ensure... You know what I could do? Ooh. Because, realistically speaking, that entire process, you're probably not going to hit level 81 just by doing that, right? If anything, you might barely hit level 81, and you only need to be level 81 to use the engineering stuff. So, if instead of routing and engineering at the start, I route it in here, you Arcantina Key, you go here, you learn engineering, then you do Collegiate Calamity, then if that's around the time you hit 81, worst case scenario for, like, the tail end of Gulf of Memory, you don't have the BOEs. Shouldn't really matter all that much. If anything, it would lose you, like, a few seconds, but then you would save those seconds by not having to do a big, like, seesaw detour, like, up here, then down here, then back to Voidstorm. And instead, you can just go here, then Voidstorm, and that's a much cleaner path. Okay, I like that, actually. So I'll probably do that. Then Voidstorm as normal. So, something I should note, right? Follow the Arrow probably, like, itself won't be changing all that much, right? There's so many people who are already missing experience, who, like, don't have buffs and whatnot, and are complaining, like, oh, I fell behind the recommended threshold. So, I would never, like, take stuff out of the actual add-on route. That would be silly. So, if anything, I will just add stuff onto the actual add-on route. But I need to now think, for speedrun purposes, and then anybody who is trying to follow in my footsteps would want to base their choices off this. I need to think, how do I adapt it, and what do I cut? And I was thinking about Voidstorm, right? Like, obviously the Voidstorm quests are pretty good, but how good are they? Are they good enough to justify running? And I think probably. There's definitely some stuff I'm gonna have to trim. It's just kind of a necessity. But this questline up here, the Conquered Heroes, or whatever it's called, I think Shadow Puppets is the technical name, it just works out so well. It's relatively good quest density. It takes place right around Sunkiller Sanctum. There's just minimal downtime. It's really hard to envision this not being worthwhile. And then there's these quests, the pathogenic problem, I think is the name of this chain. And some of these are a little bit inefficient, like tiny, not necessarily inefficient, but like not hyper efficient. Like there's obviously a lot of quest lines that are slightly better than this one, but then it also has the advantage of you do a born killer at the same time, and a born killer can't just be done with the quest tier. Technically it can, but you're going to overkill a lot. It usually lines up really well, where you've just barely finished this chain, and then you hit 15 out of 15. And that also has the advantage of you turn it in at the very end. Now, it is only like 15k XP. It's not a lot, but it is just a little bit onto that final turn-in section. So it ends up being a little bit more efficient in that regard. So I don't know. I think it's good. It does kind of raise the question of, if we're already doing it on a Calamitous day, how worthwhile is it to spam Calamitous? And I honestly don't know if it is. I've done a bit of Calamitous spam at this point. Calamitous spam is a little bit weird. It's definitely, like, it's fast, right? But it does require you to kill mobs, like, decently efficiently to make it really fast. And a lot of my early testing was with characters that had, like, full Mana Forge Omega gear, so at the early levels, my character was just obscenely powerful, and I just kill things really quickly. Now, with, like, you know, this stuff, my character at level 83 right now is, like, decently powerful. You know, I have the level 81 things, I have the BOE belt and, or, well, not BOP, rep belt and gloves, you know, I have green items for all the other slots that I've gotten primarily through delves. But a lot of this is also after I've done all of those delves and whatnot. And I have pretty crappy, like, weapon and shield. Now, I'm still able to kill things relatively quickly. Like, that delve did not feel difficult. But something that I noticed is tier 2 delves felt obscenely easy for me on, like, my druid and a lot of my other characters. And I was just killing everything basically instantly, so it was worth it for just the additional XP. But, like, tier 2 isn't slow on these characters I've been leveling, but I definitely feel the difference. And I do have to question whether or not 10% more experience is worthwhile. So, I don't know. Especially considering there are a lot of, like, open world mobs that are just very easy to kill. And the nice thing about open world questing is there's a lot of natural downtime. So I think more often than not, you're actually doing pulls with your cooldowns in the open world, whereas delves are kind of like back-to-back. Oh, fuck me, is OBS dying? No. What's going on, YouTube? Okay, I don't know what's going on with YouTube right now. I'm not getting any issues from OBS. It's not saying I have any internet issues. My connection looks fine. I think it's just 100% a YouTube server issue, so... I don't know if YouTube people, if you're having any issues, but YouTube is giving me a bunch of error messages right now. And... I It is really annoying, though, because it keeps flashing over and over. YouTube is running into issues, not receiving enough video, and then it disappears and it flashes again. Yeah, it's doing it again. Keeps flashing, no data. It's, really distracting, honestly. I'm not seeing anything else on, like, I'm not seeing anything on Twitch that makes me think there's a problem. So, it's stopping a bit? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess at least it's not lying to me then, but let's see. Is there any issue with my computer? No? Yeah, I think this is definitely just a YouTube server issue. Yeah. Calamitous is worth it on certain specs. Ret is insane for it, for example. Well, like, okay, Red is obviously good. I don't think Red is particularly insane for it, right? Like, I I did it a lot on my prop paladin, and it felt fine, right? It has nothing to do with the spec. Like, when I'm saying I don't know if Calamitous is, like, that worthwhile, and I think prior to these buffs, Calamitous definitely was worth it a little bit. I think that some of the later quests in, like, Zul'jin and maybe Eversong, and especially Calamitous is very good if you do not have, like, the full Warbound buff. The issue that I'm running into now is I'm looking at, like, how much XP we're going to save in a speedrun, right? And then especially think about Turbulent Timeways. That's another thing I'm trying to think about. 30% more experience. That's a lot. And then for an 80 to 90 run with Turbulent Timeways, especially now that it's been confirmed the buff is not account-wide, you're also doing the time-walking dungeons early on. So you're going to need to cut a lot of stuff that is just good. So we're going to have to take quests that, like, not just the inefficient stuff in Zul'jin, for a speedrun at least, take quests that I think are actually efficient, and trim those out of the route. At that point, I do not think Calamitous spam is worthwhile. Calamitous is still a very fast stealth variant, and I still think if you're going to do it, you should round up the big elite robots in that first big pull, and pop all your cooldowns and stuff like that. You may as well. But even on a good spec, the XP per hour that you're going to get doing Calamitous is, I don't think, worthwhile compared to other things. Especially, the point I'm making is, a lot of the times that I personally was testing it with, and that I know a lot of other people were testing it with, was assuming a semi-geared character. And even in this situation, where I have, like, relatively decent gear for a fresh leveling character, this is still, A, lower than most people are going to experience, and B, like 10 to 20 item levels lower than my main characters going into the new expansion. So, I don't know. I don't necessarily think, and also, a lot of it was only at, like, level 81 to 82. So even at level 80, you can't necessarily get a lot of this stuff, and you're going to be even weaker at that point, relatively speaking. Now, like I said, I spammed Calamitous in this character for, like, a level. Wasn't slow, but I definitely felt like, this wasn't as fast as when I was testing it, like, on my Guardian Druid, which had, like, full Mythic Mana Forge Omega gear. So, is it still good for experience? Yes, but there's a reason why the people who were doing full Calamitous spam were getting times of, like, 3-ish hours, when done perfectly on a Mana Forge Omega character, and then even the early versions of my route were, like, 2.5 hours, right? I don't necessarily think, and obviously then people are going to say, oh, well, your route takes me 4 hours, and it's like, okay, but those people would also take significantly slower with Calamitous spam. That's, like, the most optimized extreme of either strategy. And then also, I didn't do Darkwind Fair buff with my route, so the original run, which I haven't even seen somebody post a faster time than that, which surprises me because it's been like 2 months, and that was without Darkwind Fair buff. I left 10% XP on the table. Now, obviously, I'm going to do my next run with Darkwind Fair buff, but that, if I had 10%, could have probably been sub 2 hours already. And now, my projected time for the run I'm going to do next week with the 12.0.7 changes and Darkwind Fair is sub 1 hour 30. And really, the only question is how far below that I can get. Ripslock Arn said, hello, Mr. Harldan. Hello, Ripslock. You don't know what XP per hour I get leveling normally, but with a 130 item level fresh character, you run 1.8 per hour. That sounds about what I remember getting with Calamitous, yeah. I forget exactly what somebody calculated for my route, but, like, you could just watch my run and do the math, right? And then keep in mind that it's only getting faster in 12.0.7. Just watch that and calculate it. Somebody said it was something around... Somebody left a comment. Let me see. Can I find the comment? Somebody did the math on my run. Let me see. There was a lot of comments on this video, so it's probably going to be tricky to Let's see. After a quick scroll, I can't see it. I know somebody did, and it was like significantly higher than that. And then again, that was without Darkwind Fair buff, and also it's getting even faster now. So you can expect it to be significantly ahead of Calamitous. I mean, also, like, just go ahead and try and optimize Calamitous as much as you possibly can, and do that for leveling and compare it to my route, and, like, I'd be willing to bet it doesn't match up, because I know a lot of people who have already done that, and they have said that my route is faster. I mean, I tested that for myself, and I determined that my route was faster, otherwise I wouldn't have made it. But I'm just saying that other people have independently tested it and come to the same conclusion. I mean, there's a reason I'd like to think why Follow the Arrow has gotten so popular, but my entire point for that, yeah, well, it is, I still think right now, at this exact moment in time, if you have all of the buffs, like Darkwind Fair, 25%, there is a case to be made that it might not be worth it that much. I think, if anything, you might do like half a level, just to give yourself a little bit more wiggle room. But it is, what I said before, I'll reiterate, if you do not have all of the buffs, it is definitely faster than, like, the slower stuff in Zul'jin. So if you do not have 25% warband, then at least half a level of Calamitous is optimal. If you have even less than that, like if you have 10%, 5%, then yeah, like a full level of Calamitous spam is probably optimal. And like no Darkwind Fair buff, maybe, like I said, half a level to give yourself leeway. But I wouldn't say it's that worth spamming. But then keep in mind, I mean, as you'll see, we're not only getting the thing that you need to think about with the 12.0.7 changes, the big thing that a lot of people haven't considered is, yes, Delver's Call is getting buffed. Yes, that just flat buffs the route as it is, but that also condenses the route, right? So before, it was delves up until, like, you know, here's the whole route. Like, the early section delves up until, like, level 82. And then the later section is the turn-in. And then this section in the middle, this is, like, other stuff, right? So you could do Calamitous spam, you could do Eversong Woods, you know, Zul'jin a little bit towards the end. And this section is getting condensed now, because now, at the very end, where you do all the turn-ins and stuff, just at a baseline, that's getting buffed. So, now that that gets buffed, and also now that you're adding, compared to what I did before, Darkway and Parhelion Plaza on top, so that the early section gets pushed out a little bit. The end section, the turn-in, you can turn in earlier, that gets condensed. So now this middle section is a lot tighter, which means that the bar that you need to hit for something to be good enough to be put into this middle section is now even higher than it was before. So there was a lot of stuff that was already, like, on the fence about whether or not, like, you would want to include it in the route. And like I said, Calamitous is, like, good, but there's a lot of other stuff that is good. But now that bar is being raised. And that is in addition to the fact that there's a bunch of new things, like, well, not new, this quest, Hope in the Darkest Corners, like Legends of the Heronir, like As Will Test, Prey, Abundance, etc. That stuff, South Earl Soiree, that stuff now eats into this section even further. So then you just need to take the most optimized section of this, of that entire questline from before, and, like, what do you chop out? What do you keep? And then condense it all down. So it's only the best of the best. Calamitous does not meet that cut, for sure. And honestly, I don't know what does. I think Eversong Woods, a good shell of this will likely make it into speedruns. As I already said, I think Voidstorm, this basic loop, these two quest lines are probably still barely good enough to be worth including, just because they're already efficient, and then it cuts down on travel time so much, so it's like, sure. It kind of just works out pretty well. There's a lot of stuff in Eversong that's, like, a no-brainer, right? Like, the Valera quests are really good. What's it called? One adventurous hatchling when it is not bugged. Like, these quests are really efficient. This stuff up here is pretty efficient, these quests. Then, what's it called? There's a lot of the Blood Knights quests that you can get from Southrills, which you're going to pick up now, overlap with this area here. So these quests are still worthwhile. This stuff, the Reenact the Crime, like, this entire section, because it's so, like, perfectly integrated into the Eversong campaign, it's just really, really efficient. You're still going to do this entire basic loop. But then you need to consider, like, okay, as Eversong goes on, it definitely slows down a little bit. So the final leg of the Eversong campaign, we probably cut that. The lumber camp area, it was already, like, iffy. You did it because there was already, like, a decent amount that kind of flowed well here. But the lumber camp, the catacombs with, like, the puzzle, this final quest here, that's, like, I don't know. It's not really all that good. I still think that you probably do everything up until the Delve, because you're going to do Shadow Enclave anyway, and a lot of the quest up until this point overlaps pretty well. And, like, Facing the Sun's pretty good. I don't know exactly whether or not every one of these quests is going to make the final cut, at least for a speedrun route, that is. But there's enough overlap for this entire area of the Eversong campaigns where you probably just continue up until this point. But then after the part of the campaign where you go to the Delve, I don't know if you keep going. It's tricky. I'm also, like, I don't even know if you do Runestone Rumbles anymore, which makes me sad, because I do really like that chain. But now, I don't think... I'm pretty sure this, what's it called? It's starting here, where you have to go to, like, whatever this is, the Golden Mist Village. And these quests are okay, but, like, they're fine. And, again, this section is now condensed. You need to be the best of the best. And I never really thought much about these, because, obviously, if you're doing the entire Eversong campaign, then you want to keep going. But if we're cutting off the end of the Eversong campaign at some point, well, then it may as well be here, right? Then you have to think, like, what is the... from the point that we know we're cutting off, retrace your steps back until, like, okay, this is definitely efficient enough to be worth keeping, and then kind of find the point in the middle. But honestly, I think it is just up until the Delves. So you're probably going to do this section of the campaign up until here, probably Facing the Sun, turn this in, and then... And then it raises the question of how do you handle the pathing for the rest? I think I'll probably have to completely invert the routes, because normally you finish off at the end of Eversong, right? And then you Arcantina key, because it would be like, it saves a minute of travel time. But if you're already midway through, then is it really worth it to do that? Probably not. You want to get back to Silvermoon, because you need to pick up Regent's Request, and you want to do this stuff. But at this point, it might just be faster to head up here, turn in Southrill Soiree now, then head up, do these quests, which are probably still worth completing. So you do this, you turn this in, then you pick up Regent's Request, then... what's it called? After picking up Regent's Request, you do one Adventurous Hatchling, you do Regent's Request, then you fly down, you do a Talamon. Then, another thing I need to test is the intro campaign section of Zul'jin is not bad, but probably not efficient enough to be worth doing. Obviously, if you're doing the entire campaign, then it's a no-brainer, right? But I don't think most of the Zul'jin campaign is worth it. This I'm still on the fence about, though, because it's not a bad set of quests here. It's just okay. And it does overlap nicely up until the Akilzon Shrine, because then there's the one where you have to, like, get the necklace and stuff from killing mobs here, and that no longer becomes worth it if you don't have the campaign, but then if you have the campaign, then it's pretty good quest density. So maybe. But what is absolutely worthwhile, because you're going to come down to Zul'jin anyway, so you do a Talamon, you go to Amanizar Village, you pick up, like, a lot of the quests here, which, like, this is just a really good hub, and you do all the stuff in like the Murloc area. All of these quests. Path of Mourning is probably not worth doing in full, but these initial quests here, Butchery Basics and the other one, like right down here, those two overlap pretty cleanly, so you probably just quickly do that, and that's just like easy experience. So I could see that. Then set your Hearthstone to a Moneyzar village, fly out, do Twilight Crypts, and then ideally end here, and then do the big final turn-in sequence. Maybe. I could also... Ooh, something that I could do is... I was kind of on the fence about, like, when do you do Parhelion Plaza and Darkway? It could be right around here, right? If you time it like that. Where right around this point is when it switches over. Then, after doing these quests... but that's awkward, right? Because then you could pick up Regent's Request here, then do that, and then do Darkway, then fly up to Parhelion Plaza, and then Arcantina Key back to Silvermoon instead of having to fly anyway, and then go to One Adventurous Hatchling, potentially. I don't know. It's interesting to think about, but there's so much complicated routing here with all the new stuff. But this is all for speedruns, right? For everybody else, like, it's just a flat buff, so. Oh shit, yeah, good call. Let me ban that bot, thank you. I did not notice. Let's see. Good for you, bud. Said, good morning. Just wanted to pop in and say thanks for Follow the Arrow. You used it for 4 tunes now. Awesome. Glad you're enjoying it. You're planning on getting all allied races to 90. Should you do it right now or wait for 12.0.7? Well, only, what's it called? Only 80 to 90 is changing. So, I mean, that's up to you. You can do everything up to level 80, and that is functionally the same. But really depends on what you want there. Here, what I'll do. Let's copy this character over. And I will... I can also copy over my druid, and we'll test the turn-ins. But I specifically wanted to use my paladin for Legends of the Heronir. Now, there's some Legends of the Heronir things. I think I haven't done it yet, so I can properly test. I'll double-check to confirm before I waste time copying it over. Yeah, no problem, Brodiator. But there are a few that I know for a fact are not worth doing. And for Follow the Arrow, I'm on the fence about doing one of two things. I don't know, like, there is probably going to be a fastest, here, let me turn off Leatrix Plus, just gotta be careful. Right, yeah, so you pick up this quest, and then it selects a relic, right? So, some of these I know for a fact are slow. Sky's Hope, this one is awful. This one is, like, multiple minutes, it's really, 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 really slow. Most people who don't interact with this a lot won't even have this. This is the final one you unlock anyway, so, like, it being the worst kind of works out well. Then, what is it? Yeah, this one, Cauldron of Echoes, is awful. That one, you have to go all the way up to, it's like this area, this cliff area. There's, like, a painting minigame. It's complete trash. Then, every single other one is at least decent, and, like, if you picked it, it would probably still be worth it to do it. Honestly, even Sky's Hope, this one is complete trash. The Cauldron would probably be slow, but for the amount of experience, it might theoretically be worthwhile, but it's just like, why bother when the other ones are really, really fast? Out of the remaining ones, Root of the World is pretty slow as well. There's some, like, relatively lengthy minigames that I don't think are very good. Like, that one I can just very safely say, it's not terrible. It's not as bad as, like, the painting thing. This one, you have to do, like, a skywriting race. It's really, 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 really slow. But this one, I also know for a fact, would not be the fastest option. Then, out of the remaining ones, This one, Waynan's Ward, is like, I forget, I think this one is... It's up here in, like, this cave, I believe. And it is fine, but it's not, like, that good. It's, if memory serves, that's the one where you have to, like, you have to dodge the patrols into the cave, and there's, like, multiple different little mini-games you need to do. It is definitely faster than the rest, but it's still slower than these other ones. And then there's these three, right? Where these are the ones I'm going to test in the PTR, because I think that Alnara's Bloom is the fastest. That's one where I said you go down here. It's just really, really efficient. But Echoless Flame and Ruzilla's Outreach are both also very fast. And I haven't, like, actually timed it, so I don't necessarily know which one would be fastest. And both of them are, like, right around here. So they're not in, like, the perfect location, but they're also not that far away to where if I test it and I'm like, okay, actually, wow, this is faster than I realized, sometimes it just doesn't really process, right, until you sit down and test it. We can see here, yeah, there's only one quest, right? Sometimes there's multiple. I really wish I understood why sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But look, this gives better than average XP. I don't know if this is getting buffed by the PTR. In fact, I guess at this point I'll copy over my character and we can check that. And that's the main thing that I want to test. Yeah, I'll park myself over here. That way, every time I copy it, I'm just in an easy to access location. And I will exit. So bear with me. The screen is going to be black. Oh no, but I'm logging on to the PTR, 12.7. Should pop up in a moment or two. Trying to think, like, I don't necessarily have a concrete plan for the stream. A lot of stuff I'm probably going to have to test myself, and then I'll obviously have a video talking about all of the big changes that you need to understand. So I'm going to copy account data here, and then we'll do this. Main reason I'm doing this is, like, for fun, right? If I'm going to test it, I think some of the more interesting things I'll show. A lot of, like, just the raw copy-paste testing, I don't think I'll bother with. Like, one thing that I'm going to test a lot is I'm going to get my Paladin to a point where all of the final turn-in stuff I have ready to go on live servers. And I'm going to do testing to figure out when is the perfect time to do the turn-in. And I can do that on the PTR by just copying over and over and over and over. And I will probably, at some point, whenever I figure it out on stream, just show you the final results. Not going to be today, right? That'll be another day. Okay, so we go to Europe, and we're going to copy Giliana. And then also, I'm going to copy my Druid. Europe. Where is... So we'll partially simulate that now, just to get an idea. And then we can get a, like, the perfect version on another day, after I've narrowed it down to the exact number. Alright. Yeah. So I'll show my Druid first. This character also has every single Delver's Call done. Now keep in mind, this is not what the final turn-in will look like. I'm also not... Like, it's probably going to be more around, like, level 86. This character's still level 85, but... I'm just doing this to demonstrate. So... okay. Yep. How do I... Ah, crap. Okay, my UI is all messed up. I guess I'll just, for now, I'll drag the damage meter. And then, how do I personal resource display? So that's, like, kind of messed up, but I will... How do I do, snap? Snap to elements. Okay. There we go. So first off, you can see here, yeah, I mean, it is a colossal amount of experience, honestly. And that is the non-buffed version. Is there... okay, well, it won't show until I'm there. But, alright, so a few things. Is my graphics low? Yeah, my view distance is really low for some reason here. This is showing, right? No, it's not. Ah, okay. Good thing I checked. Right, yeah, for PTR, you actually do need to manually switch it over, because they're considered different applications. Alright, so what was it that I showed? Yeah, you can see here, crap load of XP from that. I'm also going to fix sound and backgrounds. So, let me double check to confirm. Yes, that is a lot of XP. So, that is basically another 100k XP. It's like a previous Delver's Call quest before the buff. So that's just completely free. I'll need to do that. Another thing I wanted to check is the Void Assault quest. Does this count as a weekly? It does. Interesting. Now, Void Assaults are just, like, so completely shit that it is interesting they got buffed. I don't think that this is worth it. Like, the reason why the other stuff is interesting is because you basically get it for free. So, like, this quest being buffed, you can do this passively. Before, it was barely even worth doing. Now, this is just 100k free extra experience. Like, that's just good. Void Assaults being buffed means they are not absolute dog shit anymore, but they are still really terrible for leveling, and you would have to go out of your way to do a lot of extra stuff. The way I think that this should be viewed is, imagine if you had to do, like, an extremely long, extremely inefficient delve to get an old, unbuffed Delver's Call quest. It's the same reason why I said Parhelion Plaza before was already, like, iffy. This is not worth it, in my opinion. And you can't do ritual sites while what is this? Oh, this is the invasion points. Okay. I mean, there's, like, no way that you're ever gonna do that for leveling, right? I'll have to check the, Yeah, I don't even have that unlocked, so I'll test that at some point and see. Just for shits and giggles, I cannot possibly imagine that the new invasions are going to actually be worth doing. World Quest XP is unchanged, right? Yeah, so I definitely don't think any of those will be worth doing. If it's, like, directly overlapping, then sure. But, like, another thing, right? So I'll pick up the quest for... actually, is there even a quest? Let's check Voidstorm, because I just realized, like, I don't think Stormarian Assault has a quest. It's just the world quest, right? So how would that even work? Now, you're not going to do Stormarian Assaults. Like, it's not good. But it hadn't even crossed my mind, like, how you would get the XP from it. Have I done this? Okay, that gives the same. Okay. And... yeah, and that doesn't count as a main quest. Alright. Would have been crazy if that did. I don't think special assignments count. But yeah, I'm not even sure what would technically... I'm sure if I look at this world quest on the map, well, it wouldn't show up, right? Yeah, it wouldn't appear because I don't have the special assignment unlocked. And I would need to do 3 world quests. I can't imagine that it would give anything good, and you're not going to do world quests anyway. I will at least check Stormarian Assault just on the off chance, like, maybe, I don't know, every single quest gives, like, 100k or something like that. Suddenly, that would be interesting. But Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's just regular 17k. Slightly above average XP. This is just... Yeah, these are just like regular quests. Okay. Yeah. There might be... Hold on. Because this, I think, gives you a quest afterwards to do Stormarian Assault. So I'm going to at least double check. Now... Oh, no, it requires level 90 to even interact with that. Okay, yeah, well, I didn't think Stormarian Assault was going to be worth doing if it was buffed, which I assumed it was, but it seems Blizzard cares so little about this event they didn't even bother buffing it? I guess? Okay. Maybe it is buffed. You're not going to do it anyway, even if it is, but it doesn't seem like you can, so... I'll fly manually. Whatever. We'll, let's see, we'll pick this up. I am actually kind of curious. I assume this just gives the standard, like, 5k XP? Yeah, almost dead on. 4.4. Not worth ever doing those, but not that you're ever really going to be able to leveling outside of the PTR, of course. Let's see. Also, yes, I have my 25% buff. I'll grab Darkman Fair before I do any of the turn-ins, and we'll check Harrandar. What do I still need to check? Prey, I definitely need to check. Abundance, I need to check. Saltharils, and, I'm checking Legends of the Harrowneer. I'm trying to think if there's any other thing that might be classified as a weekly quest that I haven't thought of. I don't think so, though. Yeah. I mean, if anybody knows of something that might be considered a weekly quest that I can go check, let me know. But also, goddamn, long loading screen. It's always Harrowneer, isn't it? Because I remember when I did my my Druid speedrun on the PTR, I had like the longest Harrandar loading screen of all time. And at the time, I remember being quite annoyed with that. Okay, let's check this. I have... Oh, I don't even have... Alright, none of my add-ons are on the PTR. Alright, that's fine then. Okay, I'll select a relic. Oh! Okay, Blizzard. Well, that's annoying. Can I even... No. Man. So, for some reason, my account-wide progress didn't get copied over? Why? I don't know, man. Let's see. What I could do is, I'll come back and double-check this. I guess I'll just demonstrate Root of the World and unlock it on the PTR, and then test the other ones. It's, the PTR copy thing is always a little bit frustrating. I could check the daily quest, see if that gets copied over. Or, what's it called? Buffed as a weekly. I don't suspect it does. That would be absolutely ludicrous if that's the case, but you never know. Yeah, no, still 21k, which, like, not bad, but not that insane, also. Yeah, Yeah, I guess until... or let me check abundance while I'm at it. Because I can do it here, I think. That's one also advantage of abundance. In theory, there's multiple that would line up well with the route. So, where is it? This. Yeah. I mean, also, ooh. Right, so because you get the warbound, or the war mode benefit from this, it would give slightly more than normal. It's pretty good. Here, screw it. I'll test this. So this is 130k. I mean... Oh, what the heck? I don't really have any preference. So, abundance is like 3 minutes, right? The way that I was trying to think about it is, at first I thought abundance was 5 minutes. Now, I haven't tested every single abundance area, but I figure if I view abundance as like... Okay, this one I've never done. I'm guessing I have to harvest these crops. I primarily do the one in Zul'jin. So if you can do the entire thing in one go, and that's, like, reliable, like, you can consistently get it done like that, and it is 3 minutes to get 130k, and what are... I didn't look at the mob kill XP. If they are giving me normal mob kill XP... It doesn't actually look like they are. Let me... let's see. I need to make new window, XP, and then... this... other, experience. So it looks like the mobs here don't give XP. It's possible, though, maybe, like, one of the abundances, like, the mobs give XP. And another they don't, so I'll have to test every single one just to see. But yeah, so these mobs give absolutely none. That's a bummer. That does mean that abundance is, like, technically just a worse delve, but a delve that you can do in 3 minutes is, like, would have probably been considered, like, average by the previous standards. And technically, this is already higher than, like, the pre-buff variants. So... I don't know. I don't really like this abundance thing, though, so you probably wouldn't do this. You would likely do either Void Storm, because it's in a convenient location, or you would do, what's it called? Zul'jin. The Zul'jin one is a little bit out of the way, but that one I at least know that I can do relatively quickly, so maybe it's worth it. I don't know. Why are all these dead mobs here? Is this normal? I doubt there's another player online. I'll do a /who, right? Yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's another person on the PTR right now who just came through here and killed all these mobs, so that is strange. Let's... Alright, I can't really do a whole lot else. I don't know if I managed to get it all in one go. I think I might have been short. Yeah, so in this case, right, like, I wasn't able to one-shot the quest here. This is definitely a fucking awful one. I'll go test, Void Storm. And I'll also... Where is... Abundance, right. I actually got close, right? And that was really, really, really inefficient. So, if I can do ever so slightly better than that in Void Storm, I know I can definitely do it in, what's it called? Zul'jin, which is the one that I have practiced with, that I can reliably do in one go. If you have to do 2 runs for that, it's definitely not worth it. But if you can do it in one go, in 3 minutes, that's, like, probably worth including. So that's another 130k XP, which further condenses the route. Makes it even harder for people to, Westcating in PTR. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like... It's likely something with my account-wide data didn't copy over properly. Doesn't matter all that much. I can just unlock it. I'll be able to show why it's so bad, I suppose. It's just, I know for a fact that one is not ideal. Okay, I've literally never done this particular abundance. So, let's see. Will this kill me? Okay, apparently you take no fall damage from that. And do these mobs give XP? They do not. Man, like, would it have been that hard for them to do that? Feels like that would not have been that tricky for Blizzard to implement. Okay. The mob density in here seems a lot better, though. Still not quite as good as the Zul'jin one, but... fine. Okay, and then I can just deposit this here. They respawn relatively quickly. I'm guessing they probably don't leash for a while. Oh, shit. I didn't realize that I've just been passively... I guess my thrash has been ticking them down. Alright, let's... T-spawn. That's not good. Let's keep going, see what I can do here. Can I do this in combat? I can. One nice thing about this is, technically speaking, I don't need to, like, hyper-optimize this. So it is either efficient enough to be done all in one go, or it's not. Like, there's no in-between, because I can't finish this early. Right? In theory, at least. I don't... Like, could you do that? Maybe there's a way of, like, you can abandon Abundance early, and then just, like, walk out with whatever you have, and then just turn in the quests. But honestly, I have no idea if there even is a way to manually leave. I'm sure it would be possible. It would probably be a lot harder here, because the exit is, like, up a cliff entrance. Maybe in Zul'jin I could see, like, if you just walk out, right? Like, what are they gonna do to stop you? Let's see, though. I feel like that was probably enough. Alright, let's just deposit the little I have. That, I think, was enough, right? Yes, okay. That was enough. I mean, that's good XP, for sure. I didn't... You also get gear, okay. Could be nice. So... The advantage of this one, for sure, is that it is close by. It felt, like, fine. I will definitely need to test to see if you can just walk out early, because that might make Zul'jin worthwhile, because if you can just speed it up, right? If you can hit the 2k cap for the quest, and then you just, like, go in, you hit 2k, you run out the moment you're done, and, like, you can save a minute doing that, then if you have to make a minor detour to go there early... Because I'm pretty sure, maybe somebody who's done Abundance, like, way more than I have, because admittedly, I barely engage with it. I think the Zul'jin one is the fastest, at least out of the ones, like, out of my experience, right? Feels like the fastest. And definitely, while this one didn't seem bad, it was basically impossible to leave early. So Zul'jin is really, really, really efficient, and you can just pop out ASAP. Like, that I know it's very easy to get to the exit. So that doesn't seem like it would be that tricky. I don't know, though. Have to think about it. What else? Legends of the Heronir, I'll have to figure out how to do that, but I did... Trying to... Oh yeah, Southroll, Soiree, and Prey. I need to test. Well, let me check my notes, see if there's something I wrote down that I wanted to test. I think that's it. Like, I wanted to double check to make sure that there weren't other weekly quests, which, like, Void Assaults, honestly. Didn't know for sure if that counted. Now we know it does. Okay, so let's see, how does this work? How does Prey work? There is no special quest. Yeah. It's every single Prey, right? So each Prey gives this amount. I saw some people were a little bit uncertain about that. Hey, Oxara? Cody said, lol, I can see Blizzard saying, will they get orbs for the goal in the cave? That's gotta be better than XP. True, I guess. But obviously, yeah, like, I would definitely be... I would prefer if that you could get XP off that. It is interesting that this gives renown. Something I'll have to test, right, is there is, like, a chance that... Every single one of these that you can do completely for free would be very good. Like, very, very, very good. So, imagine if while you're doing the quests in Voidstorm, you can passively do this. And then while you're doing the quests in Eversong, you can passively do that. Let's test. It's only normal mode. So that, like, it shouldn't be too tricky. Also, keep in mind, the prey traps are warbound. So, I'm not saying you should do this, but for a speedrun, I could theoretically start off with 5 traps, and that way, every time I get ambushed, I just pop a trap. And that would one-shot it, right? That just saves time for a run, at least, so it would be pretty good. The downside is, I'm pretty sure it auto-completes. So, this isn't something that you could wait to turn in. But it should be affected by war mode, right? Looks like it is. Ooh, okay. It's not bad. It's not bad, actually. Now, you're 100% going to do the one in Eversong. Like, that's a no-brainer. Just popping traps as you quest through here is worthwhile. The real test will be whether or not you can do it for Voidstorm as well. We'll see. Honestly, I'll probably test that in a little bit. That is probably worthwhile to double check. Okay, so for Southroll Soiree, this is a little bit weird, right? Because technically speaking, you don't need to do any of these little quests. Now, in theory, because getting Southroll's favor is, like, always optimal, I think that you'd probably just want to do that, at least as, like, your initial pick. I don't think it would matter that much. In this case, I'm going to pick Blood Knights just because... so what does this give? So that initial selection quest also gives XP. Interesting. So you would want to do this while leveling too. I mean, that's just a free quest. It is interesting though, right? Because it gives you 1 quest worth of XP, but then you have to go through this entire process of, I would like to spend a favor. I would like to spend a favor. And, like, is that worth it? Eh. But okay, so, like, this is what I'm talking about, though, right? Look at these Blood Knights quests. I'm just going to show where all of them are on the map. So first off, for... Where is it? Is it a separate section? Oh, it's just under Eversong. So this is what gives the buffed XP. Now, this will always be worth doing. The Runestone quest, it's a little bit finicky, right? And doing this in the PTR is going to be weird. But the entire Runestone event, like, it takes time to set this all up. Like, I'd have to spend Brimming Arcana on this thing, get it going, etc. Like, charge it up, do the waves and whatnot. But on live servers, people are going to be doing this normally. So whenever you pass by one of these, you just wait to see, like, oh, is the thing up? As somebody else is killing it, you run over, you tag it, you get credit. That is completely free 130k XP. Just no effort whatsoever. You just get it. Now, these other quests, right? They're not special. They just give 17k XP. But look for a moment at the Blood Knights quest I just picked up. What are they? They are pick up items from the mobs in this area, beat up 8 mobs in this area. Notice something directly overlapping this chain. Which one is it? Cargo Conspiracy, which is already in the alt route. So that's already good. This now directly overlaps it. What is the other quest here? Oh, look at that. Kill Lightbloom creatures, which you do 50 million times throughout the course of the Eversong questing route. So I think that that is just worthwhile. Every single Blood Knights quest, in my opinion, tends to just be really good. There's a few other ones that are, like, very, very, very easy to complete. Even the ones that require a detour, it is an extremely minimal detour, and, like, if it was just a regular quest in the route, it would probably be worth doing. They're just good. So I think that you're probably always, for leveling, going to want to take Blood Knights. Doesn't really matter all that much. I don't think so. Now, on live servers, I've already picked Farstriders, so I know which one this is, but it varies week to week. And it is pick up Ghostlands Peppers down here. Now, that one I know is okay. Like, it would probably be worth a detour to go pick up the peppers, but I am curious what the other ones would be. So what do I get from Magisters? Yeah, like, some random shit down here, siphon some worms. That would not be worth it. I don't know what I would get for Shades of the Row, but I know, like, a lot of the Shades quests are pretty inefficient. There was a Farstriders quest I got that overlapped with one Adventurous Hatchling, so 99% of the time, I just, like, if I'm not trying to, like, earn reputation with one of them, which, as you can see, right, like, the fact I've already maxed Farstriders and Blood Knights should kind of give that away. I almost always pick one of these two, because they are just so fast to do. And I've only ever been thinking about this from, like, I want to get my Copper Key shards really quickly, but if you're doing leveling, not only are they already really fast, a lot of times, as I showed, they directly overlap existing parts of the Eversong campaign, or the Eversong alt route. So I think that is just kind of a no-brainer. That's what you're probably going to want to do. It's not, like, that important either way. Interesting. The Prey World Quest counts as a quest. Now, this doesn't give a lot, right? But notice, this also directly overlaps with part of the Eversong campaign. So, if I was doing the Eversong campaign, I would just basically get this done completely for free, and I would get 12k XP to boot. So, I think it's safe to say, no matter what, the Eversong Prey you will include in the route. Which also makes it yet another, bare minimum, completely free 130k XP. Which, for already done. Wow, that's all I needed. Okay. Yeah, so we got a free, also affected by war mode. You can't see behind the timer. I forgot I have the timer up there. Here, I'll hide the timer for now. And can I get out of the way? Here, I can also hide myself for a second. You can see there's 17k. So it's buffed by war mode. So that's pretty good. So we do the ambush, then this, and then we'll do the riposte. I don't have traps, obviously, on this character, so, you know, I'm not going to worry about this just now. And, like, I'm going to try and finish the Prey right now. I think if you actually were going out of your way to do the entirety of the Prey, it's probably not worth it. Right? And that's why some people I've spoken to have, like, said, oh, well, I don't think Prey is going to be good even with the buffs, right? It's just really slow. Now, you could probably get an entire Prey done if you really tried to optimize it in, like, under 5 minutes. And we could view it as, like, oh, technically a delve. But it does have a lot of travel time to make it work. So, is it worth it to target Prey? Especially with how much variance there is. Like, sometimes you get a lot of traps, sometimes you won't. Like, in this case, obviously, I'm not going to have much trouble getting this. Like, I don't necessarily think it'll be worth it to go out of your way to do all the Prey stuff. But who knows? I mean, I'm, you know... I don't necessarily want Prey to be fast for leveling, so I will admit I'm not, like, you know, chomping at the bit to test it as a viable leveling strategy, spamming Prey over and over again, but I could see a universe in which it is not terrible, if somebody else wants to test it that is not me, for, like, spamming it. Like, I'm going to go to Harldan, and I'm going to deliberately try and do Prey. I think at that point, the amount of time that you would have to spend specifically doing Prey would make it inefficient. But instead of doing everything I'm doing right now, just, you know, I'm testing this out, right? But it's pretty safe to say that you can get this done entirely passively while doing Eversong Campaign, and then at that point, if you're taking 0 detours to get this done, then the only true detour you would need to take to actually finish the Prey is that final battle. And that would not take very long at all to do. You would just find a convenient time to do it. I just need to like this to activate. Man. Yeah, this is the problem with Prey, right? Like, we've already spent at least a good, like, 3 minutes here trying to get this objective done. I think that there are definitely, like, you know, since the trap nerf, it's been a little bit annoying. It's definitely possible to get, like, more efficient progress, but riposts are always going to be the most efficient. And then, like I said, if you just, if you give yourself 5 traps on your character, then you could just, while leveling, pop that in the Prey's face immediately. Which, not bad. Okay. I don't know how I pulled this. I missed it. Do I know if the new system coming in the patch is that only for midnight content, or does it work for any content in general? What new system, Deck Collector? I'm not sure I understand the question, sorry. I mean, like, if we're talking about the leveling stuff, it's not a new system per se. They're buffing midnight content, so in that case, it is, I guess, just for midnight, just because, like, I mean, that's what it is. That's why I feel like I must be misunderstanding the question. So, if you can clarify. I am out of coffee. Hey, owner? The mini talent tree thing. Oh, the Omnium Folio? That? I mean, the Omnium Folio, I don't know if I'd call it a... Where is this? Raid encounter. Okay, interesting. I don't know if I would classify it as a mini talent tree. It's, I mean, it's just borrowed power. Like, any borrowed power. It's, yeah, I mean, that is endgame borrowed power. As for whether or not it works outside of midnight content, which I guess that's... I understand the question at the very least. Who knows? I'll be honest, I don't know the answer off the top of my head, and that is... I was gonna say, and, like, I'll test the Omnium Follow further, but that is probably not even in the top 10 things that I would want to test with it, considering the only use cases I care are for endgame stuff. Yeah, so, like, killing this mob is not that hard. What I'm curious about... So this is a click to complete. Can I just keep this in my log? Do I need to complete this to pick up a new one? Could you theoretically turn off autocomplete, like disable Leatrix Plus, and then hold this in your quest log as a complete? Okay, no, it counts as a hunt in progress. So you could, if you didn't want to do another hunt, which in this case I do. I would not want to turn it in here, though. So you want to turn it in somewhere to benefit from war mode. Where's prey? Okay. You could theoretically do that, though. So you could treat this like a pet battle quest, which already makes me worried about the implications for, like, Last Titan pre-quest prep. Oh, God. That's, yeah, that sounds annoying. Would it make sense to stack the soiree and pray? Define what you mean by stack the soiree and pray. I mean, you're gonna do soiree, right? Which soiree is only ever in Eversong. Would it make sense to stack the praise and do a pray in Eversong? Well, yes, but that's more just because Eversong is good anyway. And soiree is in Eversong. Oh, I see. So Nightall and Vol are on the Voidstorm map. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, let me get Darkman Fair buff. I guess what I could also do is, like, worst case scenario, if I picked up Voidstorm Prey and I didn't manage to finish it. The problem with, like, if you're not able to finish it reliably, then the time it takes to go speak with Astalor, like, that is not an inconsequential time loss. Okay. Okay, but for speedrun purposes, you start off, you teleport to Eversong, you grab these quests, Voidstorm, do the basic loop to get the Quartermaster item, then Harrandar, and then you're using Arcantina key. So if you're coming from here, Arcantina out here, you're actually right by Astalor already. Okay. At that point, it's a very minimal detour to pop over here, talk to him, get Voidstorm Prey, head out, Collegiate Calamity, Voidstorm, do the Voidstorm quests. And then now, we were talking about before, is it still worth it to keep these quests in Voidstorm? Well, if they're already, like, arguably efficient, well, you slap, what's it called? Slap a Prey on top of that. That is an additional 130k XP that you would not be able to get otherwise. That's just free. Okay, damn. Trying to think if there's any justification for doing that in Harrandar as well. I don't think there would be. I can't imagine. There's not enough good stuff to ever justify doing in Harrandar. It is interesting, though, because it does make you think. Zul'jin probably would be, though. Like, so the Amanizar village stuff in Zul'jin, like, that you'll want to do. You're going to be doing enough quests and stuff in Zul'jin to where you could probably finish a prey passively. And if you get like 90% of the way to finishing a prey and then you have to do a little bit extra, at that point, if you're spending 30 seconds to finish what is effectively a delve, right? And then you just go, you do the final boss, and you're done. That's not bad. So then, in that case, maybe you do everything other than Harrandar Prey. Harrandar Prey, I don't think you can justify. I don't see it. I mean, that is a lot of extra stuff, though. That is that is like a fundamentally different route almost. Because that is, compared to what we had before, not just the Delver's Call Quest being buffed, but 3 praise at 130k XP each, South Earl's Soiree at 130k, Abundance at 130k, which, if you view it as a 3-minute delve, is, and I'll test Zul'jin on my Paladin, probably worthwhile. Then that's good. And then, oh yeah, Legends of the Harroneer, that's another one. That's really efficient. You don't have to test it, but just curious if you knew. Yeah, unfortunately I don't. Cody said, I asked before you started talking about doing Soiree. Yeah. Yeah, Soiree is completely free. You would definitely do that. Let me go... I don't have dollar on Hearthstone on PTR. Okay, I'm gonna have to make sure I have all my shit set up on the PTR before I do a test run. I'm not doing a test run today, so I'm not too concerned. If anything, it's good that I did this so that I know. Ripslock said, Blood Knights for the win. That new place looks like one of the invasion points we had on Argus. It is one of the invasion points we had on Argus. Both of them are, actually. Which I kind of like that they're not, like, reusing it, technically. It's the same, like, in-lore planet, but they are different. Okay, so I'm going to enable Darkwind Fair, then we'll do the big turn-in on my Druid, and we'll see how much XP that gets me. And this isn't even the full turn-in. Remember, we have more after this. So that is going to be a lot. Yeah, it's... I mean, the good news is that this is a bigger buff than I anticipated. The better news is that, like, follow the arrow, like, my route is basically the only thing that can even remotely take advantage of this. So, this is a bigger buff specifically for my leveling method. Like, no other method can really benefit in the same way. So, you know, obviously, W. That's good. But it does mean, of course, the flip side is I'm going to have to do a little bit more writing for the new version than I thought. There is a certain element of, like, some of these things I will have to... Like, how do I track prey progress? I don't even know if I can. I would have to figure out how to do a lot of additional tracking to make this work. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, so I might need to, like, in the meantime, just add, like, manual steps that basically just say, do this, and then it's kind of, like, on the player. I can at least track to see if the quest is complete. There's a lot, though. One thing with Abundance is Abundance wouldn't be included in the final turn-in, presumably. Unless... Okay, I will have to test. It's possible that if you do Abundance in Zul'jin... I mean, you could end with that, right? You could theoretically do Abundance in Zul'jin, not turn it in, and then I think it is the same quest giver. So then you could end by turning it in Harldan. So even if, let's say you do this Abundance up here, then you just don't turn it in, and then during the final section, when you're doing the Harldan turn-ins, you do these two, fly here, basically, you kind of just go down, turn this in, you lose like 5 seconds of travel time, but that would be worth it, I think. And then you fly up, you turn in Grudge Pit. And ideally, you'd still want to end here. That would be the final section of it. That makes sense to me. The main thing I've been thinking about is where do you turn in Saltharil Soiree? That one I think is too much of a detour to justify including in the final turn-ins. You're definitely going to do it. But I think that it makes more sense to do that midway through the leveling process. Like, you pick it up, obviously, you go here, you do Fair Breeze, right? You grab it here. Then, at some point, probably, like, midway through the Eversong campaign, you circle back here, and you turn it in. That makes the most sense to me. I think my idea earlier of you do Facing the Sun, you turn this in, you turn this in, then you go here, pick up Regent's Request, then... Yeah. Yeah, then you would fly up here, do this, do that, do Dark Way, and then it would be a little, like, the issue with this, obviously, for speedruns, I'd probably do this just because the variant being a better one would save me more time than, like, the slight scaling difference. But for most people, you would have done this earlier. But it doesn't matter that much. And then I Arcantina Key. Then I would do one Adventurous Hatchling. Then I would do Abundance. Then I would do Valera. Then... depending on where I am, either... No, it might be worth it to just go straight to Amanizar Village at that point. Well, I would do Valera, then Atalaman, the Delve. Then... you probably just go straight to Twilight Crypts, right? I think after leaving Atalaman... yeah, that way you don't need to, like, set your Hearthstone or do any, like, weird shenanigans. You just go straight down here, do do Twilight Crypts, then you go to Amanizar Village, then you do all this stuff. Because, like, this questing hub is really dense. Ideally, you get the Prey done. And then... you could do the turn-ins in Amanizar Village, including these Delver's Calls. Then you would do the Prey. And then... you would turn in your Prey out here. Then you would take the Prey portal back to Silvermoon, which would then let you do... you'd already be here, so you wouldn't even need to, like, Arcantina Key. Then you do the Silvermoon turn-ins. Then Voidstorm turn-ins. Then Harrandar turn-ins. And crafting, right? Somewhere in the middle of all that. And that would be the route, I think, for a speedrun. I'm sure that, like, I could polish a little bit here and there, but the Prey portal actually would be kind of nice. So you actually would save a little bit of time doing Prey that way. So then it lowers the bar for Prey to be good, which I think it probably already has justified its inclusion. But that just kind of further pushes me towards being like, yeah, actually Prey seems like it would be pretty fucking good. Okay, damn. The other issue that I'm running into now is, like, with, what's it called? With time walking, with turbulent time blaze, with the 30% buff. I mean, that's, with all this stuff, that's so fucking massive. Like, you barely even have room for anything else. You barely even do anything in Eversong, right? Like, I don't even know. You probably wouldn't even do most of the campaign. There's actually a real chance where maybe you do only the Eversong campaign in, like, Fairy's Village, in, like, the very initial early section, and then you just kind of dip out, probably, like, when it sends you to Tranquillion, and then you just immediately head to Shadow Enclave and do that. It's, I don't know, routing this is going to be a nightmare. The route has gotten a lot more complicated. At the same time, though, that is kind of where I thrive. I love complicated routing like that, because I'll be honest, I'd like to think I'm pretty good at it. So, whenever it gets to be like that, where I have to figure out some, like, extreme traveling salesman path to save a lot of time, then I'm pretty sure that I can cook up something fucking bonkers. And the nice thing is now, with Follow the Arrow, everybody else benefits from it too. How fast can you do it in 12.0.7? I mean, based on what I'm theorizing right now, pretty fucking fast. If you missed it, I'm going to be doing a speedrun later this week. That it'll be off stream, but I'm going to record it and post the video on the main channel. That's going to be like a really fast speedrun. Now, before I looked at any of this, I was like, sub 1 hour 30 minutes is very easy with Darkmoon Fair buff. Keep in mind, like, what was my Druid's time earlier in the expansion without Darkmoon Fair buff, obviously without all these changes, was 2 hours and 17 minutes. That was a fast run, but I know I can do it better. And if I had Darkmoon Fair buff, it is entirely possible that would have been sub 2 hours already. It would have been close, but it would have been possible. And now, with these buffs, I mean, we are looking at something kind of obscene, honestly. Like, it is... I think with Turbulent Timeways, sub 1 hour, 80 to 90 is, like, very, very, very doable. Without Turbulent Timeways, which obviously the run that I'm going to do on the PTR next week is not going to be with Turbulent Timeways. Duh, it's not a thing yet. But, I don't know. I think it'll be very, very, very fast. I'm trying to imagine a way in which it isn't fast. So now I'm simulating all the turn-ins, by the way. I'm currently level 85.5. I have 25% Mentor and Darkmoon Fair buff. I don't have auto turn-ins, so I will actually have to do this by hand. Shit. I don't have crafting, so... Like, I'm going to... I already said this earlier. I'm gonna, like, set up at some point the perfect, like, everything completed, because I'm also missing, by the way, like, the... what's it called? I'm missing this quest, Hope in the Darkest Corners, and... what else would I theoretically have? Abundance in theory, I guess I would have here. I already did just turn that in before. We can turn in... Prey I would have, so we can turn this in. Track this. It's a... click to complete. It is... Okay, I'm just lagging, right? It's, one of the blizzard zones are not loading. Alright, there you go. So that's already a lot. Those largely were the Silvermoon quests, by the way. The ones that don't benefit from War Mode. So, I mean, that's just kind of disgusting already. What else? Zul'jin and then the other delves and stuff. So my initial projection was that at like level 86 you'd be able to do the big turn-in. At this point, there's a very real possibility that you do the entire turn-in at level 85. Now, the thing about that, right, is you need to remember that the reason we'll be able to do the turn-in at 85 is not just because everything gives more experience, we're also adding more activities, which means that you are spending time early on in the leveling process to get that XP later on. So you can't just like magically cut off the last few levels of your current time and then say this is how fast it'll be later on. You're basically adding 2 minutes to the beginning of the run to save like 5 minutes at the end of the run. So it would be faster, but it would not be like a linear, you know, like I cut an entire level off the run. The Delver's Call quest being buffed, that does just straight up cut an entire level, maybe more off. But, like, I mean, look at, yeah, that is, that is disgusting. That is absolutely crazy. Just that alone. Fucking hell. Yeah, not having Arcantina key on the PTR is really annoying. I would imagine that if I log into my other characters on my main account that have it, if I copy them over, I think that's the problem. I would need to copy over all of my main North American characters to get their progress to be shared. In the meantime, I guess I'll fly. It's not a big deal. But yeah. This bodes well, at the very least. Hello, Rudas. Good to see you. And I think, yeah, I read the other stuff. Cool, cool. Trying to think, one issue is my run will depend, I think, very heavily on, well, I need, you know, right, to have also kind of completely unimportant, but I never noticed there's like a little pocket here. Just a nice little cool area. Little blood elf thing there. I need to have Calamitous. I would like to have Calamitous. Not necessarily for the Calamitous spam, but just because those variants are fast. So I kind of need to make sure that I set up my run very, very, very soon. Because whatever day it happens to roll Calamitous, I need to do my run on that day. And I need to be ready to go. So if I wait until later in the week to even begin getting started, it's possible that we can just never get Calamitous on the final few days. And then I would miss my window. The odds that we don't get Calamitous a single time over the next, like, 7 days is basically 0. So I'm not too concerned about that, but it would be good to just play it safe. The issue with that is I do want to run Preservation Evoker Keystone Hero tomorrow. I would like to get that done. I don't know. Oh, I'm guessing, I was about to say, I don't remember this. This must be one of the portals to those areas. And I'm guessing the other portal is probably somewhere around here. Okay, let's turn in these delves. And this is also a little bit inefficient because we're getting a lot of overflow XP. So ideally, I would probably try to stagger out the turn-ins a little bit. I would have a little bit more flexibility. But I don't know. Sometimes you do just need to turn it in at the last second. Yeah, on the PTR, the Harrandar loading screen is just This one's a fucking nightmare. I don't know why it's so long. When do we go M+ again? You promise you won't let my secret identity out. Well, the plan would be tomorrow. I'm probably going to stream that on the main channel. What I'm trying to debate is because I could probably get that done tomorrow if I wanted to, but I don't know if I have time to basically do Disc Priest Keystone Hero next week. So I'm, what I'm now thinking is, do I postpone it? I think I did commit to doing one of them per week, but what I might do is, I'll do Preservation tomorrow just to get it done, and then next week I'll do, a few Disc Priest keys, at least one. Maybe I'll get a 10 timed or an 11 timed or something, so I have the key ready to go. And then I'll do, another key on Prez. Maybe, a 12 or something like that. And yeah, we'll see, we'll see. I didn't mean to click bug. And then this would be the final turn in. So this is already just the Delver's Call quests, pretty much, getting me from 85.5 to level 89. No crafting, by the way. With crafting, I think this is already enough. So, I mean, think about that. And there's more. There's, at least a few 100,000 experience on top of this. I mean, that's disgusting, right? That is absolutely disgusting. Wow. This has given me a lot to think about. I did not think it was going to be this good. It is... I mean, this is faster than War Within, for sure. It's good news, for sure. It also means I'm gonna have... I have a lot of work to do next week. Because, I mean, I need to build the route, right? I can sit here and theorize, but I have to actually test this and then get a speedrun done. So I need to prep and then, actually pull off the speedrun. Then I need to post that video. Then I need to update Follow the Arrow for this. In addition to the... I'm still working on Harrandar and Voidstorm Sojourner. I want to get that done tomorrow. Man. It's... I'm just... It's a lot of work. I also have other miscellaneous videos that I would like to post. And, as much as I know it's not a super high priority at this point, I've been collecting footage for, the follow-up, addendum for the Catch-Up Gearing video. And I want to post that at some point, but it's it is kind of lower priority in all of this. Which heal am I enjoying the most? I mean, I haven't played all of them yet, so I can't speak to that, really. So far, I've only really been playing Preservation, Evoker, and Disc, which I enjoy both of them. So, a little bit too early to ask that, I think. With the new increased XP reward from 10 delves, you can go from 20% into 88 to 90? What do you mean? The new increased XP reward from 10 to... I mean, are we talking about... Are we talking about this quest, the meta quest, this thing? It's a lot more than that. Remember, I started this whole turn-in process at 85.5. Right? Just double checking that I didn't misremember that. Yeah, 85.5. First time Delve Quest XP? Yeah, what about it? I'm not sure I understand what it is you're saying, other than exactly what I'm demonstrating here. But yeah. Uh, I I'll be honest. So this was gonna be a shorter stream regardless. I was planning on testing Legends of the Hair. I'll at least I'll demonstrate this, right, just to show. The unfortunate thing is I can't get all of them right now on the PTR, but this one is one of the slower ones. But I'll at least demonstrate that this works, right, and that even the slower one is worthwhile. Like, this is still 146k. That's still pretty good, and there are ones that I know that are like twice to 3 times as fast as this quest. Hmm. This sounds like with time walking event, you can do 5 time walking for XP buff, all delves and meta quests, some crafting, and be done. I don't know if it would just be that, right? You still need to do. You would obviously get the time walking buff. I don't know how much the 30% bonus would realistically give you. It might be close though. It might be close. Obviously, we'd have to test that, but it would be. It would be a lot. The big thing that's interesting, though, is if you do like a 10 to 90 run, if you think about it, then it's faster to do time walking in the low level section, and that buff lasts like 3 hours, right? There's a very real chance that you can get the time walking buff and then keep it all the way up until this this part of the run, and then you wouldn't even need to do the time walking quests anyway. And maybe you do like one, or time walking dungeons, I mean. You have the buff for free. And then at that point, that means that you can do more of like the efficient stuff early on. I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be ridiculous. I'm gonna have a lot of runs to do. I'm just, I don't know. I'm stressing myself out thinking through all of this stuff, and then thinking through like everything that I need to get done. And the unfortunate reality of that is I'm thinking like, I have time to stream the healer stuff right now. Like, once the dust settles, right? Once the patch is out and I've gotten all of this done, I'll have time to do the healers. But then it might just make more sense to wait until then and just to get them all set up now and then just blast through them in quick succession shortly. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. But yeah, so like, this is, like I said, this is one of the slower ones for Legends of the Harrowneer, and that was like 3-4 minutes. to do that whole thing. A lot of it's the untangle the lines minigame, having to run around and interact with mobs. But there are ones that are even faster than this. And the other issue is, like, this is a little bit out of the way, right? I don't know, it's... the issue with streaming is inherently... I think this is nice because I had to do this testing regardless, and I think that this, if anything, gives you guys, you know, food for thought, right? So, you have a good idea on what to expect for the upcoming changes. But it's hard for me to, like, sit down and really meaningfully test something on stream. Especially because the whole process of kind of narrating, you know, exactly what it is I'm doing, talking through it all. And then, obviously, you know, wanting to respond to chat messages and stuff like that. It does slow me down, right? So as much as I want to stream more... I'm like, I'm overcome with the sense of, like, I need to make sure that this is all said and done. Because, if I get an absolutely crazy speedrun this week, and then I make a video showcasing, like, because nobody's really talking about, like, how all this stuff changes, right? Nobody's talked about any of the shit that I've tested right now. They're just like, oh, buffs, right? Like, you know... XYZ thing is faster, but, like, how does that all actually work in practice? Like, that is technically my job to figure out, and to find the optimal route, and then to build that into Follow the Arrow, so that other people can use it. And then ideally, you know, there's a bunch of other stuff that I want to get done, and... I mean, I've gotten all my healer stuff done. I guess, yeah. So I'll, yeah. I don't feel like doing. I'll hop onto Europe real quick, and I'll walk through the progress on my healers to kind of touch things off. I don't feel like trying to, like, force doing testing right now before I've gotten all the proper setup done. I've already, I think, done enough testing to where I've narrowed down the stuff that I know I need. Either the stuff that I already think, like, okay, this is good, this is worth including, or I figured out what I still need to test, right? What do I have left to do? And, like, you know, there's a few things. I do want to time the Harronier event stuff, but, like, I can do that on... PTR, I don't know why it's not working, but I can do that and figure it out for sure. And... like, as much as I want to get the healer stuff done, it's like, this is a tertiary goal, right? So, like, I showed this before, but, you know, you can see my Mistweaver, or Preservation, has good progress, right? But I am still missing a handful of hero track pieces. I have used all my restored coffer keys, and I have, like, a decent amount of crests, but I can get more. But, like, in theory, if I wait until next week, and I do, like, another set of Prey... I don't even need Prey at this point, really. But if I do my Delver's Bounty at the very least, and get my restored coffer keys and run, like, a few really fast ones, then I get... I don't necessarily know if I'm going to get really good hero track items that I would actually need. I've already gotten some pretty good hero track pieces. I have this, like, 2 Crit Mastery rings. One of them has Leech. So I have a lot of good stuff. I did the PvP thing to get this necklace, right? So I could get a few upgrades. My current plan is I'm going to craft a weapon and craft bracers. But if I wait another week, I'm just slightly stronger, right? And that it would just make it ever so slightly easier. And I'm probably going to do that anyway, so I don't really lose out on anything. So the only reason to really do the preservation thing right now is if I had nothing else to do. But I think the one conclusion I've gotten from this stream is that I have plenty of other stuff to do. I'll show my Disc Priest and my Mistweaver real quick. Do you know when we're getting higher level heirlooms? My imaginary crystal ball. Ooh. I predict approximately 2 patches from now we'll get higher level heirlooms. I know. We haven't even gotten upgraded heirlooms for War Within. They've completely forgotten an entire expansion. As far as we can be concerned for heirlooms, it's a dead system. Blizzard has completely forgotten that it exists and that it's something that people actually want to be updated. So I would not hold your breath. I think that we have a much higher likelihood of getting a full heirloom overhaul than any real like heirloom upgrade or like a level upgrade, because it seems like they just don't care about it at all. And they understand that it's just not in a good spot, so I don't know. The nice thing is it doesn't really matter, because like 70 to 80 is just completely non-existent at this point. And with the way that like BOE items work, the level 81 BOEs, like the renown things, you wouldn't really need heirlooms that much anyway, so like it's not that big of a deal. It would be nice though. Definitely would be nice. Yeah, so my priest is in a pretty good spot. Obviously, this necklace from the Mythic Dungeon box was really good. So last week, because of the Mythic Dungeon event, there was a big reason for me to push for those healers to be done ASAP. But at this point, right, like I would actually, I think, long-term get more value of, instead of trying to push my Preservation Evoker tomorrow, if I tried to get my Shaman up to 90, which I probably wouldn't have time to do if I did Preservation, then that would allow my Shaman to get more gear. So then, even if I would be pushing back the exact Preservation Evoker Keystone here, fuck me. I just realized. Nobody pointed out. I haven't been fucking showing the, screen. I'm a little bit tired. Yeah, Pixelina just said YouTube's black screen. Well, at the very least, if I hadn't noticed, then I'm not going to go back and show my Evoker, because I did show that at the start of the stream, and you can kind of gather by what I said. I have pretty good stuff on it. But yeah, my Disc Priest has relatively good gear. Right. Yeah. I assume Pixelina, you're a little bit behind, because I can see now I've gotten it working. Unlucky. It looks like you're probably like a minute or two behind me. I'm guessing because YouTube is lagging earlier, there's probably some delay there. I appreciate you letting me know. It's unfortunate that I was at least a little bit behind remembering. Unlucky. But okay, so yeah, my priest is pretty geared. I'll swap over to my monk. I'll show my monk. And like so I'm planning this afternoon I should be able to finish leveling my druid. I was waiting for Darkman Fair to do all the big turn and stuff, and I'm slowly chipping away at Harrandar and Voidstorm Sojourner as I level these characters, so they've been a little bit slower, but yeah, it's... I don't know, it's tricky. I'll show my monk, right? But I wasn't sure if I'd have time to finish leveling my shaman over the next, like, 48-ish hours. But I think if I do that, then that feels doable if I don't stream tomorrow and do Preservation Evoker Keystone Hero. But then I'd still be making meaningful like progress towards the challenge, because then I could do my shaman's like weekly stuff, like pray and delves and whatnot. Maybe I'll stream that. I could maybe, if I have time tomorrow night, do a shorter stream. We'll see. But yeah, my monk's also really geared. Obviously, right now I'm in Brewmaster gear. The only thing on my monk is I have, like, decent gear, but there's still a few slots that I haven't gotten a champion item at all. Now, I could, with undercoins, buy this. I just haven't, because, like, what do I need it for? Slightly worse gear than the other two healers, for sure. I haven't spent Crest, though, actually, come to think of it. So, I'm technically, like, I would say I'm, like, 3 item levels higher, realistically. It's still below my Priest and my Evoker, but it's not as bad, because I've spent Champion Crests on both of them. But here, I haven't converted up this stuff. Another thing is next week, I'll get more Untainted Mana Crystals, so that'll be good. So, I think, honestly, my best bet is to just do the bare minimum to get, like, all the weekly sources of gear on, ideally, all 6 healers, and just focus on getting everything done until the patch comes out. And then, I'm going to be pretty busy, obviously, the first few days of the patch, because, like, Sporefall and whatnot, and I have to, like, do stuff for North America. But then I think in the, like, Turbulent Timeways is end of the month, right? So, end of the month when Turbulent Timeways comes out, I'll probably do, like, a leveling run. But I'm going to have very little to do after the patch comes out. So, like, this week, and, like, even once Turbulent Timeways is out, it's not like I'm going to be doing, like, a ton of speedruns. I will probably do 1 speedrun, just to have, like, a really good one. But I will likely wait until the final week, because we don't get TBC time locking until the very end of July. So that's going to be the best time to do it. So I will, like, it overlaps with Darkwind Fair. So that this is the week to do a really fast speedrun. So I'm going to have a lot of free time, I think, during late June and July. And then I can get the healer stuff set up. I think, realistically speaking, because we're expecting the patch in August, right? So I don't necessarily think that there's any merit to me trying to get, like, cutting edge or whatever this tier on Europe. Like, by the time I'm done with all the healers, the tier will be over. But what I could do is I can finish up all my healers, I can get them all reasonably geared, maybe, like, towards the end of the tier, join some guild that's, like, on farm or something like that, and then maybe I can, as long as it doesn't conflict with North American prog, I can prog in 2 guilds at once. The reality is, the start of a tier, I am basically just nonstop playing the game all the time anyway. I don't really have time to, like, make videos or work and follow the arrow. So I'm either doing, like, spending most of my free time on North America, and then, like, the little free time I have, I'm just, like, you know, doing whatever that isn't video related because I don't have meaningful time to work on it, or I'm doing Europe stuff, and I can work on that as well. So I think that's probably a reasonable way to approach the challenge of, like, we get Keystone Hero, we pick out the healer that I want and try and join a guild by the end of the tier, and then for 12.1, I try to, like, put myself in a position to, like, prog as a healer and as a tank at the same time. I think that could work. Tank on North America, healer on Europe. That would be interesting. And then if I go with that approach, I have plenty of time to actually make it work. And then on top of all of this, right, instead of doing, like, a bunch of meaningless speedruns during, like, July and end of June, I still want to get the 10 to 80 routes done in time. So what I could do, you know, I get the Alliance 10 to 80 route done, like, by the end of June. I get the Horde 10 to 80 route done by the end of July. And then I do a full 10 to 90 speedrun using the Follow the Arrow updated routes, and then the updated 80 to 90 routes. And then I have a really fast speedrun to be like, hey, look at this cool speedrun. And also, by the way, Follow the Arrow is fully updated in case you didn't know. And that'll be like a signal boost or something, I suppose. Probably won't have time to make like a fully fledged guide in the middle of all of this. But what I could do is get the Follow the Arrow routes done, and then maybe like 12.1.5, I make like the video guides for 80 to 90 and 10 to 80. That'll be a good thing to do during like that patch downtime. And then obviously sometime during July, probably by late June, we'll have 12.1 PTR, and then there's going to be a lot of stuff to test on the PTR. Also, I want to have the Delve section of Follow the Arrow done by then. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, so a lot to do when my dog is barking. Pixelina said, "You're doing Mechagon Rep, you were indeed behind the stream." All good. Don't worry. I appreciate you letting me know, either way. What was I saying? I think I will end it there, though. Like, I've demonstrated... It's unfortunate, because the conclusion of the stream is that, A, short stream, and then also, one of the biggest takeaways for me from the stream is that I actually shouldn't stream tomorrow. So, unfortunate. But I do think it's for the best, because, like, discovering how big the changes are in practice, there's, like, a lot of stuff that I want to do. Because I want to make sure everything is ready by the time the patch comes out. So, I think that's a good plan, though. I think I have enough figured out. I am hopeful that I can get the next Follow the Arrow update with the Sojourner routes and a few other like minor features done by tomorrow. Worst case scenario, it might take me until Tuesday. We'll see. I'm trying to get all that done. Initially, I was going to do like one update per Sojourner, but I'm trying to cram both of those in now. And then I'm going to do the 12.0.7 changes, and then we'll worry about other stuff after that. Obviously, every single update, I'm going to try and include, like, a few other features, but I wanted to have Sojourner done before 12.0.7. So now I have my work cut out for me. The good news is, though, I think that this will be... this is going to make for a fucking crazy speedrun whenever I finally finish this route. And I will probably stream my raids, at least, on Tuesday and Wednesday. I think we're raiding. I don't know if my guild leader's officially posted. Pretty sure we're raiding Tuesday, Wednesday again. And then, like I said, I might stream, like, a short stream tomorrow night for some healer stuff, like delves on Shaman or whatever. We'll see. But yeah, that's the plan, at least. Big overall productive stream. Even if it was a short one. The rare... actual real short stream. I know all the time I'm like, oh, this is going to be a short one, then I stream for 6 hours. But I am a little bit tired, and I want to get more add-on stuff done before I pass out. But I still think this was worth streaming, though, because, I certainly had a lot to take away just from the little bit of testing that I did here, and I already knew it was going to be pretty sizable, so I'm hoping that this at least gives anybody who wasn't sure exactly what the route was going to be like a little bit to look forward to. And I will definitely try and make sure that we have something crazy to work with by the time the patch comes out. Big takeaway here, I guess, if you're trying to level now, you can still get the delves done, and then just hold on to it, and that's going to be the biggest thing that you can do. But yeah, I'll stop here. Thank you all for watching, even though it was fairly brief. And I will probably stream somewhat, like, infrequently throughout the next few days, but then, obviously a lot coming over the next week. But yeah, I'll stop yapping. Thanks for watching. Peace.